What if you could reclaim your magic, passion, and vitality in any phase of your life? Listen to my interview with Lisa Boate to learn how to start today. Lisa, thank you so much for being my guest on Choose Courage podcast. I have been wanting to interview you for some time now, so thank you for being here.
Terry, I'm so excited to be here today. I've been really looking forward to this conversation.
Me too. You and I really have a passion because maybe even our own experiences, we want to help teach others what we've learned. I'm just guessing from what I know about you. You are the founder of Lean In and Find Your Way Home. What a great name. So tell me more about what inspired you to start this program.
Yeah, well, thank you. What inspired me was my own lived reality. So I had been an educator for about 20 years,
Mhm.
and my own children were in their late teen years. And this memory is so powerful that I still remember all the details of it. And I was sitting on my back deck. It was a beautiful blue sky day. I was sitting with a cup of tea, and I had this overwhelming sense of everything I ever imagined for my life, I am now on the other side of.
Oh, wow.
How is that possible? Right? I had children who were grown, and I had always anticipated that at the other end, like when they were on their way to spread their wings and live their lives, I thought it would be sort of it would be a lot gentler process than it was, because it almost is as great a shift as when a human comes into your world when they are first born, which I had not anticipated and had not had any conversation with anybody about how this just poof happens so quickly. And so all the goals I had for my career, all the goals I had had for myself as having a family, I had accomplished all of those things. And I thought, but I am at my prime right now. I feel like I'm the most wise. I feel like I am the most in my body. I feel like I'm the most grounded. How
Mm.
can I possibly be in this place? And then what comes next? And I realized I had never even considered what would come after, family, young children, career. My whole focus had been so wrapped up in building this life that it didn't even cross my mind that there was something coming after that. So that became the beginning of Lean In, Finding Your Way Home coaching,
Oh,
which is starting to go through a bit of a transformation at the moment as well, but we can talk about that later.
great, great. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah.
Wow, I love this story so much because I also understand that so many women out there that are listening, that they think that it's over after the kids leave and you've done your job and you've been a multitasker. You've done it all most of the time. And then all of a sudden you're like, what is next? And we have a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves, I think, as well, and society. Um, to what is our purpose and our passion, and are we deserving of doing more? We already did our job of raising our kids or whatever it was. And I also found in my life that some of the things besides having children and raising them, the things I'm most proud of have happened after they left.
Mhm.
So and that's interesting that you didn't realize that until you had an aha moment.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that because I think it is really important. We can get really caught up in the grief of all of the roles that we've defined ourselves by, right?
Mhm.
So we define ourselves as mother. We define when you think about when you introduce yourself to your kids' friends, how do you introduce yourself? Oh, I'm so and so's mom. You don't
Mhm.
even say your name. And so it is this time where you get to do the reclamation work, right? You get
Mhm.
to reclaim who you are. You get to sit in getting reconnected to get to know who this human is now And that part is actually really exciting. And we can live, so much of the work I do with people is around sitting comfortably with duality, where two things are true at the same time, right? So you talked about there is so much excitement and good to come. And at the same time, I actually was just having this conversation with myself this morning. I don't have to push myself so hard.
Mm.
Right? I can take this time instead of this push through that we do through school, through building our careers, through building a family, however that looks for you. It's this constant striving. And this time in life is a really important time to be able to look back and know I I did a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In my case, I accomplished all of my goals. Right.
Yes.
However, who am I now? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I actually want to live? Do I want to keep living at that pace that was making my hair fall out and have anxiety attacks at work and cry on my way home every day? Right? How do I get to choose now? Now I get to choose how I want my life to feel.
What a beautiful message that you're helping women with, because it is a very daunting time in your life. You really do have to do some self-reflecting. And what you thought you had to do in the past, you don't have to do now, that you do have a choice. What a beautiful thing. But sometimes when you have all these choices, you don't know what to do. And, what is fulfilling for me now? What was fulfilling for me before might not be the same. So how do you start on that journey? How do you start with people on this journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the answer is I start with a process called building your midlife manifesto.
Mhm.
And so it is a process where I walk women through specific questions that help you get really clear about what you value, right? So
Mhm.
what really matters to you? So in family, in nutrition, in movement, in what you like, what you don't like, what you enjoy. So I walk you through this series of questions, and then we look at all of your responses and we start pulling out themes and trends
Mhm.
that are really evident, and they're almost always really evident. And then we, from those themes and trends, write a midlife manifesto that is essentially a mantra. It is clear, it is specific, and it becomes the foundation for writing this next chapter. So it's really powerful because whenever choices or decisions come into your world, you can go to your manifesto and go, does this align with what I know I want this phase of my life to be like? Yes, great, let's do it. No, I'm not doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, and it is a really powerful stance to come from.
Very powerful. I mean, understanding and having a clear picture, your manifesto, I love that word.
Yeah,
That's
it's
very
fun.
powerful.
It
Is
is.
it is huge, because a lot of people, a lot of women are people pleasers, not all women, but we do have a hard time saying yes to ourselves and no to other things. And, if you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else, or vice versa. And
Uh-huh.
it's very powerful to get very clear where your boundaries are and say yes or no. But if you don't know what that is, or where the boundaries are, then it's confusing. So it's taking time, being mindful with a coach like you to
Mhm.
help people out there listening, help you find out what is really what you value now, what will bring you joy and fulfillment now. And I I really believe that we need to give ourselves permission. And if you can't give yourself permission to live the life that you know will bring you happiness, joy, and fulfillment, then you know what? We can give you that permission, right? You can give them that permission.
You know, as you were talking, I was thinking about it as a skill, right? Permission as a skill, because we
Yeah.
do say that, right? Like
Yes.
one of the easiest and most difficult concepts to understand is that you get to choose. Like whatever you want this next phase to look like, it's your decision. You get to decide that. However, when you have been living a life that is influenced by so many factors outside of yourself, we
Mhm.
don't necessarily have that skill, and it takes practice. So I really appreciate the way you said that. Like, until you have built up that skill to know that for yourself, that is what we can do for you, right? We
Mhm.
can do that. We can teach you what that feeling is in your body, where you are giving yourself permission. You are making your decision. You are standing in your power.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And this is such an important part in a transition in your life. And you can have it the way you want it. You can. And if there's people out there telling you that you can't, you might want to think about surrounding yourself with people that tell you you can and help
Mhm.
you get there. This is your life. And you are the only one who gets to decide how your life is going to shape you, who you're going to be in your life. And if you're having a hard time, and know this, if this is resonating in you right now, then you can work with Lisa, and find someone like Lisa to help you and champion you and give you the tools that you need. It's a skill. It is something that you have to practice, and more you practice, the more it'll become natural to you. I've worked with a lot of people over 20 years also, trying to find their passion and their purpose in whatever phase they are in their life. So what else, Lisa? And how has this changed your life? I would like to know.
Oh
Helping
gosh,
others.
how hasn't it changed my life is sort of more the question. In that, so I did the same thing every day for 40 years, right? Until June of this year, I had been in a school building every day since I was 5 years old. Really,
Wow.
right?
Yes.
Whether it be a post-secondary institution, whatever that school building looked like, it looked like different things. And I had, even in my career, I had lots of different roles. But every day from the time I'd been 5 years old, I showed up in the school building.
Wow. That's
And
amazing.
yeah, when I started thinking about the trajectory of that and how there are places where you have some creativity within education, but for the most part, it is a very controlled way of being, right?
Mm,
Bells tell you when you can move. You have very specific times when you have a holiday. You don't even get to choose when you go to the bathroom.
yeah.
And so when I resigned from teaching, I let go of that entire structure that had formed the majority of my identity
Yes.
for the majority of my life. So when I work with clients, when I say, I am in this with you, I mean it.
Yes.
Like, yes, I have lots of skill and experience and qualifications to bring to this. But the most powerful part of it is that I am also doing this learning, because I have to untangle myself from this very structured and controlled way of being
Yes.
to letting myself be free, which is both liberating and
Yeah.
terrifying all at the same time, which is a little
Yes.
bit behind. Yeah. So when I mentioned earlier, going through a bit of a shift, that I wanted to, like, finding your way home feels really comforting, but I also
Mm,
wanted to highlight that there is joy and there is passion in this phase.
mm,
So moving into, in the individual coaching part of my world, being the vivacious heart coaching.
mhm.
I also am a real advocate for menopause and how that's impacting women in the workforce. So perimenopause and menopause. And I have just launched liberated menopause coaching and consulting to work with
Wow.
workplaces to create menopause friendly work environments.
Wow, that just gave me chills.
Thank you. It's very new and it's very exciting, but the data around what happens to women at this phase in the workplace is really clear. In Canada, there was a report that was released just in October that talked about the impacts that women experience when they are, like I said earlier, we are at our prime, but when we are in spaces that are unsupportive of our physical realities,
Hmm.
women are leaving the workplace in mass numbers and taking all of that institutional knowledge, all of that wisdom, all of that training, and they're taking that with them.
Oh,
Okay. So,
yes.
yeah, it's critical that we really dig into how this is impacting the daily lives of the women and the humans experiencing it, as well as the workplaces that they are part of.
That is powerful. I mean, really. I mean, I think a lot of people can't even say the word menopause,
Mhm.
especially in the workplace. I mean, let's start there. Everyone let's just say the word first. But it is confusing for women and other people. I think it's been just this myth that no one understands it. And
Mhm.
if we can shine a light that this is for many, many women, this is the best time of their life because now they're open to be creative and really express themselves. They've done their jobs with the family or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
And now like this is their time to live their best life and
Yeah.
share their gifts and their
Yeah.
knowledge. And we do
Yeah.
not want that to go to waste. So what I'm so impressed with you. That's a big step doing this.
It
That
is a big yes.
you're shining the light. You're shining this light on this subject, big time.
I do feel like it is the work of women of our generation. You
Yes.
know, always standing on the shoulders of the women who went before us, right? Everybody
Yes.
did what they could do in their time and in their space. And there is this shift that is happening of women of our generation who are standing up and saying, hey, there is a lot of life to live still. Like when you look at how our lifespans and health spans, the length of those are changing.
Yes.
We really want to have quality health spans, right?
Yes.
And to do that, a big part of it is remaining active leaders in the society and culture that we're in now. And so there is this sort of feeling of like excitement around that. I feel, and part of it is the work I do. I'm sure, like I am bombarded by people who are doing this
Yeah.
transformational menopause work, which is exciting.
Yes.
And I realize that there is a lot of work to do because you're right. Even just saying the word menopause and perimenopause
Hmm.
is hard for a lot of people, and they don't recognize the fact, you know, the things we know are hot flashes
Yes.
and night sweats, right? Most people know
Yes.
those things and they're like, oh, that happens for a little while and then your period stops and then you're done.
Yes. Oh
Only
no.
that's only like
It's a teensy bit.
this tiny little bit of the story
Yes.
where there's no system in your body that is not impacted.
Yes. Yes.
And so it shows itself in all kinds of places and ways that no one has ever talked about or noticed before.
All I want to tell you is thank you. Thank you. And you're helping so many people and so many women, and we all need you. And I want to tell everyone listening right now, if any of this message has resonated with you, please contact Lisa and get started in finding out what the truth is and what things that are not true, and start to live the life that you know has been whispering to you your entire life, because it is possible, not just before menopause, but it's possible after menopause. And any of you listening right now, and this is a big message, Lisa, I hope you agree with me, that when I started, and then we're in this process myself, I went to a doctor and they wanted to put me on antidepressants. And that was not, that was so humiliating to me, because I knew it wasn't that. I knew it was my body changing. So I'm just telling you, ladies, be your own self advocate and know that there are answers, and find the people that will help you, like Lisa. So, Lisa, any last words of wisdom, and how can they get a hold of you?
So one, thank you for bringing that up. That is hugely important. The knowledge just is not there in the medical community, and we do need to be our own advocates. And
Yes.
I can be that advocate for you.
Perfect.
Because yes. So you can get a hold of me in many different ways. So I am on social media at lboat on Instagram. Liberatedmenopause.ca is my website. And all of my contact information is available there. So that's probably the most direct route to go.
Wonderful. Please get a hold of Lisa today. Thank you for sharing this very important message with women who are confused about this subject of menopause. And you know what? It's time for all of us to be free of, this for misinformation around this subject. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I look forward to staying in touch.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. This is great.